Okay, you guys, so I want to look at ACHR, which is Archer Aviation, and I've been looking at this one for a while. I was introduced to this one when it was a little bit cheaper than what it is right now. It closed out at $7.49, was probably around maybe $3-4 when I was first introduced to this one, but it has definitely been on a nice little run up. It's been up and down, up and down, up and down, but it had, it made its way up, but it dropped down another 50%. But I still want you guys to kind of keep it on your radar. As of right now, though, I'm not fully bullish on it yet. And the thing I want you guys to look at is on the daily time frame. Okay, so right now I am on the daily time frame for ACHR. Okay, that's their ticker, and I'm going to be posting a video where I talk about the Death Cross and the Golden Cross. And as of right now, Archer may be on the verge of making what you will call a Death Cross. And that is when the 50 and the 200 EMA crosses each other to the downside, okay? And the EMA, I have my 50, which is this yellow line, and then my EMA 200 is this white line. What these are is this just giving us the average price that the stock has been over 50 days and over 200 days. When you add that EMA to that daily time frame, remember each candle took 1 full day to form, and so this EMA is just giving us the average price that the stock has been over a certain period of time. And so even though you see where we broke below this 50 EMA and we broke below the 200, that right there would have initially given us bullish signals. But if we get this 50 and this 200 to cross to the downside, we can definitely expect this thing to come down some more. Now, this is little area right here where we literally held up is where I was looking to see if they were going to break below that, which is approximately 659. So let me come down over in this side here. If you go to the left here, you see where we had these holdups right here in this area around that same little price point, right? So here, this low point was about 664. This here was 659 and 660. You see the same little area right there. Same up in here. We got this overkill. It pushed down to about, what is that, 548. It came back up, kind of played along those lines again, and we started pushing back up. And so we come a little bit further to the left, right over here, and we can see these same little touches in the same little space, same little area, right? And that's exactly where I was looking for a potential holdup to take place. But if this thing decides to break below this little 659 area, 649, in that little space there, we are definitely going to be coming down some more, and we can potentially look for this 549 here to be retested. And that, not just based on that, but this area here. You see where we kind of had some resistance there where it touched it. It came down, finally broke out around this area. They touched it again. It pushed back up, and that is why I would be looking for that to be the next stop if they break below that 659 area. Okay, and so this could be a very low risk trade, by the way, because when you see stocks cheap like this, a lot of times the premiums, of course, will also be a little bit cheap, especially because it's not a whole lot of volatility there. And so you may see, the demand is there. I've traded this thing. It has given me some decent winning trades, just about having enough contracts to make sure that, we can maximize on those profits. But still could be a great trade. I've traded this to the upside and to the downside, but right now I am definitely not interested in looking at any upside movement just yet. Even though we got this hold up here, seeing how this plays out with this 50 and this 200, if we get that cross there, I probably would not want to be in calls on this thing, okay? And so what I'm going to be looking for going into Friday as well as going into next week is to see how this thing kind of pans out. Now, if you go to this 4 hour, which is right up in here, And I was looking at, you guys can kind of see this 50 and the 200 pretty much crossed right here already. This was around November 6th, beginning of the month, and this thing began to come down. And when I see an open space like that, I'm not too bullish, especially with this thing being under this 50 and the 200 on this 4-hour time frame. But because I'm primarily a swing trader, that's where my main focus is. I usually look at the 4-hour, but that daily and that weekly are usually my go-to as well. Okay, and so this is just something I want you guys to kind of keep on your radar. I wouldn't be surprised that if we do push back up, possibly retest around this area of around, let's say 821, which is around here. I'm gonna put a line right there, retesting around here, or simply retesting and rejecting at 922, which is that 200, and then begin to make its way that down, especially depending on how this thing kind of plays out. With this trend got down to the downside, and then we may be either seeing a bear flag or a potential pennant. All right, so we may get a flag, or this thing may wedge, and then it may drop back down. So it's multiple ways that this thing can kind of be played out, but I definitely want to see how it reacts at that 821 level going to Friday or going into Monday. Okay, if this here gives me the reaction that I think, I would look for a little breakout outside, depending on how this thing kind of forms out, and ride this thing down. Okay, and so I would personally though be looking at about 549 to potentially get some shares in here. I only have like 3 shares in that I got when it was like maybe $4, and it's just been sitting in my account. So I would probably be interested. And the main reason I'm interested is because Cathie Woods, who is one of those people that I follow, their investment portfolio, she has Cathie's Art, ARK. And you may have heard of her innovation fund, where she got ARK, ARKW. It's a bunch of them. I'll do a pop-up somewhere for the website. You can go and check out all of her holding. And so this was one of those stocks that I've been watching, because I've been watching her pour into this one, and I've also been watching how she trimmed down on it, keeping up with, you know, their financials, their news and things like that. They've been kind of back and forth with their earnings, and you know, them pumping out cash, all of that revenue. You can see all of these things by just simply taking a look at their fundamentals. Okay, so that's just more than just a technical, just to kind of look at into Archer, but it definitely grabbed my attention again when I was looking back through Cathie Wood's portfolio and the things that she was trimming down her positions on and adding to her position, and Archer was one of them. Okay, so keep it on your radar, see how this thing kind of plays out. It could be very interesting. It can be a very low risk trade for those of you who may either be new to it or you want to try to give it a go. Okay, this is definitely something that you can look into. And you know what? Another thing, let's quickly look at that RSI to see where we are before we kind of close this video out. So as of right now, they are sitting at let's see. So they're sitting at 32.80, which would indicate that the stock is oversold. So we got a bit of divergence there. So, you know, we're seeing that this thing is oversold on this daily, which means that we can definitely expect some more upside to come in before a bigger downside move come. This is why I wouldn't be surprised if they attempt to get this thing back up to about 922 before that final rejection happens. It comes back down. It's 50 and it's 200 crosses, and that would be the goal, that this thing could potentially break below this 659 and come on down to 549. And breaking below 549, it can go lower. And yeah, so you kind of make your decision on where you want to go from there. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. You're new to it, RSI just mean overbought, oversold on a stock. Okay, it's just basically saying that if it's overbought, then they are likely going to be, you know, bringing this thing back down. When it's oversold, it's likely that the, you know, buyer's going to start stepping in and pushing the price back up. So keep these things in mind. Definitely one I wanted to bring to your attention, especially if you're new to it. I like to bring stocks that are low risk, that actually has some potential, that also has some of my favorite people who are actually investing and, you know, kind of mentioning you got to follow the money. and kind of see why they're potentially putting their money in there, and do your own research from there. Okay, so they closed out at $7.49, so they are well under $10 right now. And then of course, if it does see some more downside over the next, let's just say the next month, going into December, then it could be the opportunity to actually get some shares. Okay, so it just depends. I also like to continue to do my research there to see if it's worth buying more or actually loading up on some. So we should see how this thing play out. So keep it on your radar. If you decide to get into this trade, let me know. Give me a quick update on how it went for you. What made you make your decision outside of what I may have just showed you guys. All right. So with that, I will see you guys in the next one.